Good morning again. Before we get going, I got a bit of a correction I got to make, and I said something at the beginning of yesterday's episode that, well, it's not 100% true. I said I got 11 hours of sleep. Well, I knew when I went to sleep, and I knew what time it was when I got up. Well, it worked out to 11 hours. I forgot about the time change. Never thought about that until later on yesterday. I only got 10 hours sleep. Last night I got probably 7. I'm feeling good again. When I sat down here at the model table, I noticed that I'd forgotten to tighten down the little lid. And I'd used the extra thin quick setting on the rudder there. And I don't think we lost very much, maybe a gram or two. It probably evaporated into the air. That can't be good for you. Anyway, yeah, let's roll back and take a look at what we did yesterday. Now, I was going to grab the camera and run to the computer room and edit out the opening scene, and I noticed that we had a beautiful sunrise happening here. Yeah, this might make a bit of a nice time lapse. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'll dub it in if it works out. It has to happen yet. I was expecting this today, and this time I saw him coming. Hello. I'm okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, have a good day.
Thank you. Well, I have looked all over for that propeller. I even took my spotlight and shone it around on the floor. I couldn't find it. But I was checking the manual here, and unless there are more boats further on, it looks like we only have to make 6 boats that have propellers. Now this one doesn't show having propellers put on it, but I think I see it down here on the... Anyway, well, we'll look into that later. Now, how is it that I can buy shredded wheat and bran? Now the reason I bought it is because Superstore didn't have all bran; they were out. So I went on Amazon, and I found out that I can buy these about $1 a box cheaper than they sell them in Superstore. Go figure. Okay. Why not? $1 a box cheaper and delivered to the door. Well, it seems that lately you can take everything that I say that I'm planning to do, like in the rollback or later on in the evening or whatever, and divide it by 2. And then if we're lucky, we'll get that much done. Yeah. And today is another one of those days. But I did say that we will put the macro lens on and take a close look at this and see if it appears that it's... Well, I know that it did. I could tell by looking at it when I was doing the editing that there was enough of this Bob Smith Industries Instacure that it probably is glued on there really good. Now, I know that I could pry it off. Anyway, let's stop yapping here and get our macro lens on. Now, there is something that I forgot to do, and I am very surprised that I have not seen it in the comments yet, and that is that I forgot to twist a bit of a pitch in the blades. I don't know if I'm going to bother with the other ones. I think that in all likelihood I could have maybe done it, but on the other hand, it could be I could have broken that very, very delicate hub that has been, you know, I was going to say molded, but that's not the right word for photo etch. But you know what I mean. And you can see that it's quite strong. But as I did say, a person could break it off. But I think with reasonable care, and I'll have to be careful when I set it down. Now I think once we get the rudder in place here, that will protect the propeller, because if I was to set it down on the keel, I believe the rudder will make the blade above whatever it is I'm sitting it on, if you know what I mean. Okay. Okay, once again I want to try and let gravity be my friend. So what I've done is I've angled this thing at an angle so that when I let go of it, it sort of wants to stay there all by itself. That is, if I can manage to hang on to it long enough. Okay, let's try this again. It won't quite fit in the crack all by itself, but I do believe once again that if we put a little bit of the extra thin in there and get everything softened up, I think it should slowly start to go in. There, I think I saw it go. Now I'm just going to have to keep an eye on it, and when it starts to slump one way or the other, on the other hand it might not, it's staying there. And I'm sort of looking at it, it does appear to be straight to me. Unless I was to maybe try and move it just a tiny bit forward. Maybe a tiny bit more. Okay, let's let that dry like that. Well, that looks fairly straight. I think we've done enough for this evening. We'll see you in the morning. Well, it's morning, and our sunrise was nice. It was really nice. At least I thought it was. And I spent the last few minutes, well, actually probably about an hour, trying to get Premiere Pro to put it into a time lapse. I'm getting used to that program, and I'm starting to really like it. Anyway, I paged ahead once again just to make sure that we only do have the 6 boats. And we got 2 like this, you know, with a little smokestack, and then 2 that we're going to be doing shortly. Well, in other words, there's only 4 that take propellers. Now, we nipped out four propellers here the other day, and I lost one. But there are 2 C frets of photo etch. So we've got extra propellers going on here. Now, I'm just sort of wondering, does that mean that the Rodney had these same frets were used on the Rodney model? And I don't mean Rodney, I mean Nelson. I'll get it right yet, folks. Don't worry, I'll get it right yet. On the Nelson, and I think that maybe now is a chance to take a look at the PDF of the Nelson and see, are the boats different? That'd be kind of fun. Let's do that. So I was giving myself a sip of coffee here a moment ago, and I thought I heard somebody say they wanted to see the sunrise now. Well, it lasts about a minute. Some people don't like sunrises. Okay, I'll show it. Okay, first of all, before we get going here on Robert's PDF, and Robert, once again, thank you so much for sending that to us. Now, this page that we're looking at is right at the beginning of the manual. It's just before step 1. And you remember we were talking about all the little holes that were in our deck that apparently we didn't have to cut out? Well, you can see here that on the Nelson's deck, there must be a lot more stuff that has to be plugged in. Now, these were the ones that we had to do, and these are the ones that I guess Robert has to do. And I think Paul has the Nelson too. Well, probably a lot of guys have the Nelson. Anyway, let's move on here. We're looking for little boats. Here's step 1, no boats, no boats. Okay, here we got some boats. All right, it doesn't say make 2, so we make 1 like this, 2 like this, 1 like this. So that's a total of 4. Now, I was noticing afterwards I missed step 17, 2 more boats. And I'm wondering, are these the same ones that we're going to be making soon? I wonder if they're even the same number. H39 and H40 looks a lot like something we're going to have to make. Now here it's showing placement of probably the ones we made. Anyway, let's quickly go ahead here where we can see all the boats on the deck if possible. Maybe I'm missing it here. Okay, so we got 1 there, another one. It'd be the same on the other side, so that'll be 4. Okay, and then we got looks like some hanging from the davits, so that'd be 1 on each side, I imagine. So that'd be 6. Oh, I see a little boat right here. Okay, we got one right there, and then these 2 here, and then 1 on each side. So we're looking at, now I'm going to assume that there's 1 on the other side, so that would be 8. But a lot of these don't require propellers, though. All right, it looks like about 8 boats on the Nelson. If I'm wrong, I'm sure somebody's going to correct me. Anyway, yeah. Okay, here we are in our Rodney manual. And here we have those same 2 boats, H39 and H40. Even the drawing looks identical. Well, I don't blame them. I do the same thing. And we're getting ahead of ourselves, so we have to make a couple of other boats first before we get on to step 5. Okay. I have the second one done now. And I did it pretty much the same way as I did the first one, except it only took about 5 minutes. Okay, our next boat, make 2. We need a piece off of the H sprue and another piece off the H sprue and a piece off the F sprue. And more propellers. Okay, F23. Now, if I remember when we did little boats for the hood, the panel line accent color worked really good in places like right here. And I'm planning on using it again on these. And yes, I was being careful not to cut the boat underneath. Okay, there we go. Okay, now we need H23. And H38. Now there's something that I just noticed that I never noticed before. I'm going to show it to you. Remember we were wondering about the propellers and how come we didn't need an extra propeller for this boat? Well, it's already got it on. Now how did they mold that? Okay, now our propeller shaft here, H36. Now do you remember there was something I want to not forget to do when I nip something like that? And we'll talk about it after I get the macro lens on. Okay, remember I was saying that when I nip these little pieces off, I have to remember, instead of cutting it like right here, and leaving just a tiny little bit of sprue on, nip it back. Then you have something larger to hold on to. Uh-oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. Well, I did find it, but not right away. Yeah, I was thinking that maybe what I was going to have to do is watch my clip here in slow motion and see which direction it pinged off to. Problem is, I think that it probably went so fast that it would, one minute it was here, and a 60th of a second it wasn't. And these being that these clips are running at 60 frames a second, there was a chance I might have been able to see which direction it went. Anyway, what was I going to say here? Well, we got it. Okay, I must be stubborn or something. Let's see if we can do this one without it pinging off. I'm just going to maybe go a little slower here. Maybe I went too fast before. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Now that's what I intended to do. I just wanted to show you that I could do it if I tried. Okay, I'm going to be cutting today's episode off early. And here's what's happened. A few minutes ago I was outside and I was petting Missy and talking to the neighbor, and I was asking him if he wouldn't mind, when he comes over for coffee, have supervise me taking my COVID test. He's actually kind of a doctor. He's a dentist. I guess that's a doctor. And yeah, he said that'd be okay. But when I came back into the house, I could tell that my answering machine had received a message. I just coincidence, you know, Murphy's Law, you run outside and that's when you're going to get an important phone call. Now, I thought you might like to hear the message.
Monday, 1:05 p.m.
Hi, Ron. It's Lori calling from Lameder. I just wanted to let you know that the Iowa ship is in for you to pick up anytime. We're here today till 4 o'clock, and I'll send you a quick email on that. Thank you. Bye-bye now.
So, okay, I'm going to have to deal with that now. And my car looks like this right now. So, yeah, I'm going to have to see if I can get Lori to make arrangements to have everything delivered. That'll be the, you know, the Iowa and the whatever is in my basket or cart. Yeah, so, yeah, got to make those arrangements. So I'm going to be cutting today's episode off early. There will probably be a rollback. I don't know when we'll be getting the Iowa. It probably won't be today now, but it'll probably be delivered tomorrow. Won't that be exciting? We'll have a really interesting box opening, not just something from Amazon like Shreddies. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.